Welcome back to Satisfactory. This is episode 8, our first episode where we're gonna play with a lot of blueprints. So I hope you're excited with that, but before I just found this cave and I can't resist going in. I'm pretty sure we're gonna find some spiders in, which I hate. You can, by the way, obviously take them out. There is a no spider mode. I see a spider at the end over here. But I actually do want to kill a spider because you may remember this was one of the last things we were missing in the map. By the way, I have my lamps on right now. Without the lamp, this would be the cave, which would be obviously a lot scarier to get attacked from. Like now where I'm just gonna do this. No, the spider didn't come, but there's a spider close by for sure. So let's go. Here it is. Come. It's just one. Should be fine. Oh, it actually seems to be stuck. So there's a bit of a bug there. I'm not gonna complain, I hate those things. So it is, we have a stinger remains. Is there another one in the back maybe? We'll see if we get the warning. Yeah. Good, so that's fine. This one is a small one. So they're not too bad to kill. This is a scary place. And here, you have this Mercer sphere. The reality is this is useless right now. This will be useful in version 1. I'm not gonna take it right now. We don't really need it. But yeah, here it is. Let's go out of the cave and continue with our main mission. Now, if you're wondering where this cave was, this is very close to my base, right? You can see my elevator over here, space elevator, etc. This is basically just behind the copper, right? This is our initial copper node is just behind it over here. So really not that far. Speaking about copper, this is gonna be one of the objectives in this episode. I want to do blueprints copper, as it says as the last thing over here. We're also going to do versatile framework. It's the second resource we need for phase 2 in the elevator. We are going to try to do also some AI limiters. We're gonna want to expand our power in terms of how much power we're making, but also storage. This is something important. I want to look at the hard drive that we got and maybe get another one too. We have done the cave, so maybe let's do that right away. And I want to do a couple of new things in the map. But before we go into this, I wanted to talk a bit about the blueprint designer. And in particular, how I'm mainly going to use the blueprint designer in this series. If you want to do other things with the blueprint designer, I'm happy to hear it in the comments below, and we can do some episodes on this. But in this series, the way I'm mostly going to use the blueprint designer is to build specific pieces to use in factories, instead of using the designer to create a full factory. In this 4x4 by I don't remember how much, you can actually make a full factory. You can make a factory that produces from scratch iron plates or reinforced iron plate or many different things. You can't really make every single item in the game, but you can make many of the items in the game from scratch in one of these. Obviously, usually you don't produce a lot because it's not like you can fit a lot, but you can if you want. What I prefer to do is use this blueprint designer to create small blueprints. For example, a blueprint for foundation, a blueprint for walls, a blueprint for windows, blueprints for lights, a blueprint for a couple of constructors with, the belt with in the middle the splitters already placed, those type of things. So this way it makes building a new factory a lot quicker, but it's not like it's one click. With this, I've started over here, for example, to make a new copper factory. There was nothing over here before. This is all from scratch. So basically what I did, for example, is I started using this 4x4 2-meter foundation so that I can quickly expand, a foundation. So that's how we got a foundation. Then I use over here this one, which is the base of a foundation, transporting 120 copper ore into 120 copper ingots. So it's a small box like this. Again, 4x4 is our limit, unless you're using a mod. And so with this, I can quickly, for example, add a fourth one there next to that one. We turn it around so that I have the window and the input belt in the front, right? And here it is, we have the foundation. So this is going to transform into ingots. Then I can use another blueprint, for example, or for constructors, put them over here. Then I can take one of those blueprints over here of the walls, right? Put the walls there. Sometimes it's slightly finicky. This is where you probably want to use H to lock it and then move it slightly like this, right? So perfect. Then the same. And then take another one for windows to just put on top, right? That's easy. Then take again the wall one to put on top, and very quickly that way you can build also factory. You don't have to build the whole block like I did at the bottom, but you can if you want. And then as we said before, we can also easily add over here, for example, let me show you the blueprint for the lights. Here it is, right? Up, for example, we can put it here somewhere, puff, one, and maybe another one on this side if I have enough resources. Again, sometimes slightly finicky, but it's still a lot less time than to build all of these manually, right? So yeah, basically as soon as I see that I need to build something and that I don't have a blueprint for it, I'm going to create a small blueprint. And I'll share all of those blueprints in my Discord community. If you have any comments, if you have any ways to make those blueprints even better, if you want to share your own, I'd love for that to happen on my Discord community too, so don't hesitate. But yeah, basically, as I said, this is going to enable me to create a completely new copper factory that's going to take, instead of just one of those miner Mark 1, I'm going to upgrade it to Mark 2, and we're also going to start using this second one there. So now we're talking about 2 times 240. So that's why we have 4 blocks, because each block is 120 of iron ore and therefore iron ingots. And then we can start doing things with it, obviously, right? I'm going to do things, for example, like wires, cables, and copper sheet. So with this, we should be producing quite a lot. While I was talking, you may have also seen that my hard drive is apparently finished. So let's see what we got. We got 3 new recipes. The first one is another way to make, again, more wires. It is a pretty good one, to be honest. I like it. But what else do we have? We have another rotor way. So instead of using rods and screws, we're going to use copper sheet and screws with a way higher production. And then last but not least, charcoal. So making some coal to be used by my coal generators or vehicles out of wood. I don't really like this because it's not like you can produce wood on a consistent basis. So instead, I think we're going to choose this one. It's good to have that opportunity, even if I do like that the normal recipe is basically only iron, right? It's easier, but let's still take that one and let's try to find another soon. Now for alien organism, we have found a spider, so let's definitely do it. And I think there was also a couple of other ones I wanted to do over here. Yeah, this one, for example, right? I need 1000 of cables and 3 of these alien proteins. I have that, no problem over here. So let's take them. And I do need 1000 of cables. So let's take that there. Okay, 6 inventory slots. That is really good. I mean, that's what you can see over here. It should, here it is, 6 more. Love it. The next one is 1 hand slot. We can also do it. I have the resource, always good. This, we don't have 20 nuts. And this one, I cannot do many of those things yet. Now, Caterium, I'd love to get in this episode the power switch, but we do need 50 AI limiters, and that's why I've put it as one of the objectives to actually start making some. And by the way, we did unlock in the last episode the crystal oscillators, but as you can see, it is 3 inputs. We need 3 inputs to make one. So actually right now we cannot make them in an automated way because our assemblers are limited to 2. We're gonna need to wait to unlock the next one. And we can't really do that now because the next tier is locked behind the elevator phase 2. So we really need to do the phase 2 first. Okay, ladies and gents, a few hours later, I think I was a bit too ambitious in this episode. We may not be able to tick all of the boxes, but as you can see on the screen, we've definitely done the power extension. We went from 600 to 1200 from our coal, so we are now at 1650 in total with our biomass if needed, but obviously our biomass right now is always off. I've also finished the copper factory over here. But before we actually visit the factory, let me show you what's happening. Basically now we have 2 pure nodes of copper that are on Mark 2. So we're talking about 480. So obviously we're talking also about two different belts because our belt right now is limited to 270. With this 480 copper ore, we're going to make 480 copper ingots in 16 smelters. It's actually, the block that I showed you before, right? The blueprints, we have 4 of those blueprints. In each of those blueprints, there's 4 smelters. And then we're going to separate, those 480 into 2 blocks. Because again, remember, as I told you, you'll need 2 belts anyway. We're gonna have one block that's going to be focused on the wire and the cable, and one block that's going to be focused on the copper sheet. It's actually 50-50, I'm sending 240 in each. So the 240 that we have for the wires over here, each of the constructors to make wire is taking 15 of those copper ingots. So that's actually 16 constructors. We're getting into bigger factories. I'll show you that in a second. With those 50 constructors, we're going to make in total 480 wires. So again, I had to use 2 different belts, but it's fine because basically what I'm doing is I am keeping 240, for actual wires, and then we're transforming the other half, 240, into cables. That's actually only 4 constructors, so it didn't take that much space, and that's making 120 cables. Then on the other side, the other 240 copper ingots, this is going to go into 12 constructors to make 120 copper sheets. So that's what you can see over here, 120 cables, 120 copper sheet, and 240 wires. We have those industrial storage containers, right? Elevators that's bringing the resources down into those storages. Then those resources are coming all the way over here. It's a, aerial bridge, as you can see on top of the road, coming from the factory. Obviously, you're making all of those things in the top level, but there's actually multiple level, as you can see. So we're gonna, look into this. So, looking from here, you can see the factory. Again, we have the pedestrian entrance. We have a first vehicle entrance, because you may remember we did unlock the tractor. Here you can cross. Obviously, look on both sides if there's no trucks. But here you can cross, you can get those resources, cross again, and get into the first floor of the factory if you want. And then on each side of the factory, there's also some stairs to go up. That one, and also a similar one on the other side. You can see lights obviously all across, inside, outside. Is the other. So we're going up. I can show you can continue to go up if you want, or you can also go directly to the first floor. So the ground floor of the whole factory, if you don't remember, this is where all of the copper arrives and all of the ingots are merged. So in this first floor, there's actually very little belt. I know you can put the elevator directly into the smelter. I've showed you that in the last episode, but here I felt we had the space. I wanted to see the actual resources, especially when they're moving, it's pretty cool. But on the other side, for example, we're going directly into the elevator. So that's what we have, on floor 1, right? 4 of these blocks, as I said before. So 4 of these blocks, and again, we can go now to the next level. Here you can see we're still on the same level, right? Looking at it, you can see also how I got the electricity in, right? We have this beam all the way with the electricity going down on each of the smelters. Of course, don't hesitate, if you have any questions, and remember you can find those blueprints on my Discord community. Now we get to the second level. This is where we're going to make a lot of wires, right? We have the wires here. Just getting a bit higher so you can see everything. Over here, we have 2 elevators, one over here and one over here. These are bringing all of these copper ingots in. And so what's happening is that then, this is a splitter that's going to go on this side and that side with many splitters, and splitters. This one is actually a merger, right? Because we want to merge what's coming from this belt, which is the residue from that elevator, with this elevator to do all of the other splitters. So again, this is 16 of these constructors. They're all the same, and then they all get merged on the other side, right? Where you have half of them that goes into this elevator here, and half of them that goes into this elevator there. We have some light and all of this. I know it's slightly dark, but I feel like we do still have a good view of what's happening. And then we can continue to go up to the next floor. In this next floor, to be honest, it's a bit cramped. My patience was running out, so I cramped it a bit. What is happening is we have 2 blocks over here of 6 constructors for the copper sheet, so that's 12 in total. Why 2 blocks? Basically because we have 2 of those elevators. We're taking about 120 copper on this one, and then 120 on that one here too. And then what I'm doing, by the way, is merging obviously all of those copper sheets over here, and then sending the copper sheet from the first one on top there, so they can be merged with the second one. So that's what's happening over here. They're being merged together. Wow, we're really in the night here. So it's a good thing we have some glass windows and the moon. Otherwise, it would definitely be a bit dark. Let me put my light on. But yeah, we're merging basically the resources of copper. So 120 going this side. Then this is the first elevator from the previous floor for wires, so it goes over here. And then the second one is actually all the way over here. It's going to bring, the other wires to go into 4 constructors like this for cables. So the input on this side with splitters and the output with merger on that side, right? And so then we merge all of this and put it into this. And then we get into that glass bridge that I showed you before. I didn't really put, walking way here. Maybe we should. Tell me in the comments below if you think we should. But yeah, this is basically the factory, putting lights obviously everywhere, a lot of different windows. We need to bring electricity, etc. And as I said, we have stairs on both sides so that we can quickly go up and down. Then, going to the back, it's pretty similar, right? We have a lot of windows for light. Oh, I was in... This is not good. This is, poison. So don't go there for now. I'll explain in the future. Yeah, some windows, some lights, some pillars to support. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts, any comments on how to make this even better. Don't hesitate to tell me. But I'm pretty happy with it. I think it works well. It is clean, efficient. We can still walk around. So a great factory in my opinion, using 2 of those Manor Mark II, as I said, on pure. There is one over here where, I can also take these stairs, by the way, right? So this is this first belt there. And then there's a second belt over here for the second one, which is over here. Now you may remember that all of these I was actually making over here before, right? We were making a bit of wires, a bit of cables, and a bit of copper sheets. So they're still over here. We'll use those reserves when we need them. But I deleted, of course, all of the constructors, etc. Because we don't need them anymore. Now the resources are going this side. I didn't really make this pretty yet. What we can do in the future, but at least we have, the factory there. So copper factory with blueprints we can do. And as I said, this did require quite a bit more of electricity. So I've expanded my electricity production over here. You may already see it. Basically, we used to have one of these, now we have a second. It's not the exact copycat, but I try to make it a bit symmetrical. I have something that looks pretty nice. Now at the start, the key thing was obviously the miner. It used to be Mark 1, now it's Mark 2. Right, so it went from 120 to 240, and that's how we were able to double, right? This is taking 120, this will be taking also 120 because it's basically the same. So we also had, of course, to send all of this coal, from over here, split it. Here there's a splitter, and then 120 goes this side, but 120 goes all the way over here. This is also the first time we're building over here an hypertube. We unlocked it, remember in the last episode, where basically what you have to do is you put a support to start, then you're going to put an entrance on top of it, decide on which side, obviously. Then you need to put some electricity, that's what you can see over here. And then you're going to put the actual hypertube as far as you want. This is like belts, there is a limit to one segment, but then you can put multiple segments. And yeah, let's take it and show you. Here it is, we're following all of our code, right? Going into this hypertube, and we have arrived now to coal power number 2, also making 600 megawatts. So in coal power number 2, again, just in front of coal power number 1, it's pretty similar. At the top over here in this one, you're going to see all of the chimneys, and you're going to see the coal that's coming and being split. into those 8s. Then a small change is I did add stairs to go directly to the second floor over here. It's a bit dark, I know, but we have, you know, as I said, 8 of these coal generators taking 15 of coal each and 50 of water. If you missed my previous episode where I showed you how I did the first one, don't hesitate to check in the video description below. But yeah, basically we're bringing the coal from the top and we're bringing the water from the bottom. We have a fluid buffer on each side, you know, just to make sure this never has a problem. You can see it is nice and green. Then we can take these other stairs there to go all the way down, and here it's super dark. I didn't put any lights actually, to be honest. Where we have the pumps to send the water up. We have a small walkway. If we want to see what's happening, we can actually even take this walkway to go all the way to the other side. But yeah, this is, you know, the factory from the bottom, 4 water extractors. So it's a bit more than what we need, but with fluids, I always like to have a bit more. And then we have the 8 over here. But yeah, as I said at the beginning, with this, we move to 1,200 of continuous production. Now I also expanded this a bit on this side and even linked it to, you know, the steel factory we had over here. And here I wanted to put something new. I wanted to put the power storages. I basically put, you know, one on each tile like this. That would have been quite a bit of storage, but it requires status and we haven't unlocked status yet. So I don't want to cheat. We're not going to do this. We're going to first automate status in the next episode. So I'm gonna put it like this, but just for the extension and for the storage, we need to do it in the next episode. Talking about next episode, as I said, I think I was a bit too ambitious. We're not gonna be able to do the AI limiter and the versatile framework in this episode. This was already quite a few hours to get this going. But what I do want to show you is how we're going to do this AI limiter. What we're going to do is we're going to build a first highway. Over here, I have my first highway. As you can see at the bottom, this is for the road, right? We have the road here. Then at the top, this will be for train in the future. And then we also have pipes over here if we want to have fluids. And there in the middle, we can put belts. Now, I actually made this myself, but I was inspired by another YouTube content creator on Satisfactory to make it. I'll put the link to his channel in the video description below because he's amazing at the game, so definitely check him out. But yeah, I basically created 2 different blueprints. You have this blueprint over here, which is just 1, and then this blueprint over here, this is 3. The reason you do this is because I'm putting 1, then 3, then 3, then 1, because this is the exact limit for your belt, pipes, and for you know, the hypertube in terms of the distance. I can connect those 2, no problem. To have more, it would be very hard. So that's why I'm doing this, you know, 1, 3, 3, 1. I can also show you for the belt, you know, let's start a belt over here. In the middle, we go all the way here, and that works. You know, we have connected now this. It's really hard to put those belts in the blueprint because then it will be very small, and you know, I'm always worried they are not going to connect well, so that's why I'm not putting them in. But yeah, then we can do, you know, the same all the way over here. We have some good light, as you saw at the bottom. We also have some light at the top. You may have seen even these ones were on during the night. So I think that's gonna be a pretty cool highway. I need to, you know, continue it. It's gonna take quite a bit of resources, but at least with this blueprint, it's gonna be quick to continue it all the way over here, because over here we can pick up the quick wire and bring the quick wire over there, right? We have already some other resources. So with this, we'll be able to do the AI limiters. So that will also be a good opportunity for me to show you the tractors, even if, to be honest, tractors are not the best in the game. Trains are a lot better. And in particular, because for the trucks, you're gonna need fuel, and we don't really have great fuel right now. So that's gonna be a challenge, but we're gonna try, you know, I'm gonna try to show you how it works, and we can have, you know, the resources coming over here and make a new base somewhere over here for the AI limiter. And obviously also after for versatile framework, we also talked about stators. So there's still quite a few things we need to unlock before we can move, to the next phase of the game, where we have, for example, trains. But yeah, I'm really liking the progress we're making, in particular using blueprints to do things like this, or to do something like this. Don't hesitate to tell me in the comments below if you have any questions, thoughts, or requests, and I hope to see you next time.